oftentimes I'll get a comment on social media, and then I'll write a reply, and then take that comment and reply, and I'll post it over on Facebook, and even make a video out of it. That's what I did here today, and it's showing here this Google Earth map. If you looked at my home, 3802 Fair Circle, Midland, Texas, on Google Earth, and looked at the historical pictures, and behind my house you can see where they cut a ditch. See it coming out of the back of Home Depot, aimed directly at my house. And I believe that tunnel there was connected to with the oil show parties and the crimes and murders connected with them. Anyway, here's what I was talking about. Why don't you dig? Okay. There was a person named Lisa J 5107 said, yes, I read everything you posted, and I'm sorry for your situation. If you dig your yard, it's your property, in capitals, you can prove the tunnels and underground dwellings exist, as if that isn't already proven. You own it. You can dig the yard if you want. Be careful, don't get hurt again. That's very good advice. I replied, kindly, and I said, then you should know that there are many people documented saying that tunnels and underground homes are here, with one of them being Joe Lozano, a guy that was running for Midland Sheriff, who I secretly recorded. Actually, on that recording, he told me that our last sheriff, Gary Painter, the late Gary Painter, that the underground homes was his hideout. I posted that on social media. I went on to say supporting evidence was found on old Google Maps showing that one of the 4 3-bedroom underground homes is located in my backyard. I have an idea where 2 of the other 4 are located. Rhonda Denman Rogers told me that another one is a half block away. I believe it's in an empty lot next to a home on Westmont Ct. I have a screenshot on that. Law enforcement could talk to her if they wanted to, but they don't need to. They know exactly where it is. A CAD programmer, Layla O'Brien, who worked on this project, gave me a lot of information. She said the project was called Safe Houses, and they were finished in 1987 with a cost on permit for $7.35 million. The engineering contractor was PBK, who also built a school here. Tisha Brumley confirmed these underground homes were being used for the infamous oil show parties, so I've suspected that multi-billion-dollar oil companies have been bribing public officials and law enforcement for their help in covering up the many crimes and murders connected with them. In October 2010, my friend Angie McGee Hurley told me about a young girl that didn't wake up after she didn't want to prostitute at the oil show parties that year. Angie was afraid to report this murder and told me that high-level police were also there. I believe this girl was one of the 4 murders that Aaron Packelhofer told me about. Another woman told me that she went to many of these parties when she was a minor, and she said the men prefer the younger girls over the elder women. It looks like child sex trafficking was happening at these oil show parties. And yet another woman, Jessica Hadley, told me there was more than one girl that was murdered, died at those parties because she didn't do whatever she was told to do. I've got screenshots on all this, and witness testimony is often used in court. It is evidence. Ricky Ronaldo told me that him and his brother used to go in the tunnels under this home when they lived here. I have a screenshot on that. It looks like this goes to the highest levels of our government, which explains why our press hasn't reported on the many facts and evidence provided them. It should have been a national news story a long time ago. I've found evidence which has convinced me that former Vice President Mike Pence was one of those. Furthermore, evidence shows that I was shot by somebody under my home with my phone lines cut on my own property. And I tried to stop these criminals on my own, and that 5 Midland police officers, Davis, Dickey, Chadwell, Angel, and Hale, were under my home that night. No arrests, no news stories. I live under the threat of death as a crippled crime victim. Aaron Packover told me that 4 people had been murdered, died here before they tried to murder me, and I found evidence which has convinced me that the previous owner of this home, Mike Lawhon, was killed here and taken to Fort Worth in 2008 before I transferred into town and bought this home to become the next victim. I was reporting burglar alarms going off in my attic on the night that I was shot by somebody under my home with my phone lines cut, and I've now documented more than 50 other homeowners reporting people in the attic, with more than a dozen in Midland, another dozen in Odessa. Many of these from the police scanner, so they can't deny it. All they've done is encrypt the police channels so you can no longer catch them in this organized crime. That's the tip of the iceberg and shows this is a nationwide crime epidemic which has been hidden from the public by our police and press. What all of this evidence means is that tunnels and underground homes is already proven. That's what she was going. Oh, you could find proof. And the problem is blatant public corruption. I don't believe that a disabled and defenseless homeowner going up against corrupt police and press is the answer. Somehow we must find police that are not corrupt to expose these underground homes and arrest the violent criminals protecting them. I gave them a map. How much more evidence do you need? That is why I post facts and evidence on social media and repeatedly contact law enforcement, elected leaders, and the press. Recently, I've been sending evidence to Mayor Blong and several members of our city council. That'd be Corrales and Poole. I'm trying to think. There's a couple more. I pray they're not always also trying to cover up the crimes and murders connected with these underground homes. But of course, on the other hand, I haven't got a reply back. So I showed you this, Ricky Ronaldo. When I was a kid, there were hundreds of under that house. Me and my brother used to go under them. He lived in my house, and I showed you I told you how to go look up where the tunnel was. I showed that to Homeland in 2019. 2 weeks later, they poured concrete. That's right. I got it on video. I provided the Midland Police Department. I also tagged them on it so they know I wrote this. I provided the Midland Police Department evidence showing where one of the 4 underground crime centers is located that is connected with multiple crimes and murders. I can't explain why they haven't done anything, and I've suspected they were taking bribes from oil companies to cover up the oil show party murders. I'm going to show you here the map first. This was Google Map, which is a little different than Google Earth. And used to, you go put in my address and you look at the maps, and here it is, and there's nothing seen in the backyard. But you switch over to the map screen, and there was a big bunker or building in the backyard that you couldn't see on the satellite screen. Well, that's obviously one of the 4 underground homes put by the Bushes, $7.35 million, all that. Obviously, that one of them's in my backyard. That's where the oil show party's going on. That's where they murdered the girl at. All this, right? Well, I contacted the city of Midland, and I said multiple people are documented saying that underground homes are here, and there's supporting evidence found on Google Maps, and a week later this was deleted from Google Maps. So you can no longer find it. Now on Google Earth historical maps, you can find where that tunnel is at, though. Okay. And here's Tisha Ann Wilkinson Brumley. Says, I've had friends that have been involved in those oil show parties. They're exactly what you say. They are underground homes. She told me her sister used to go to the oil show parties. Lots of people know about them. Jessica Lee Hadley says, I've been to 2,000 oil field shows, and I'll tell you what, there's more than just that one that was murdered or raped because she didn't do whatever they wanted her to do. So you can see why the public and even the witnesses would be so scared to report this because of this extreme police corruption and public corruption going on in Texas. Why isn't nothing done about this? Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.